Kind of interesting that this article conveniently drops on the day that Unrivaled starts its season on True TV at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. And let's be real, school went back in today across the country, pretty much. At least most of the schools I know here in Texas. It wasn't like people were still on Christmas break or are still on Christmas break. They just started the season. By the way, started the season on the NFL's Black Monday, where now 6 head coaches no longer have jobs and has completely taken over the sports news cycle. Sucked all the wind out of it. And trust me, I did a video the other day. There wasn't even
On Monday, January 6th, 2025. As 6 NFL head coaches were dismissed on what's known as Black Monday, another professional sports league was quietly stepping into what could become its final chapter. Unrivaled, a 3-on-3 women's basketball league backed by millions in venture capital funding, tipped off its second season on True TV at noon on a weekday. Schools had just reopened nationwide. The NFL dominated the sports news cycle everywhere. And then came a stunning admission from the league's leadership. They may need the WNBA to survive. This isn't rumor or internet chatter. Front Office Sports reported that Unrivaled president Alex Bazell openly stated that nothing is off the table when it comes to a potential partnership with the WNBA. That phrasing isn't casual. It's a warning sign wrapped in polished executive language.
Any fire at all. And you didn't start this on TNT. I just can't imagine. I mean, why wouldn't you, if you have to, just do prime time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? By the way, they're going up against WWE tonight. 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix. It's going to be a huge show. That's who you're going up against? Along with the NFL?
Here's why the timing couldn't be worse. Unrivaled isn't battling college basketball or even WNBA preseason attention. They launched headfirst into WWE's 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix, a massive media event hyped for weeks in advance. At the same time, the NFL coaching carousel flooded every sports talk show and headline. And then came a move that quietly revealed how serious the situation is. The league expanded arena seating by 50 seats. Not 2,500, not 15,000, 150 people. When a league frames a 150-seat increase as a win, it's not confidence you're seeing. It's crisis management unfolding in real time.
NBA's help to stay afloat. That's on the table. They're in big trouble, folks. Year 2 tipped off Monday with 2 matinee games following an evening slate. It comes with a clear challenge, solidifying the startup 3-on-3 in an increasingly crowded women's basketball landscape.
To understand how things reached this point, we need to rewind. Unrivaled didn't start from a position of weakness. The league launched with real momentum. They secured a Series B investment valuing the league at $340 million. They attracted legitimate WNBA talent. They branded themselves as the elite off-season destination for top women's basketball players. The promise was straightforward. Play 3-on-3 basketball in Miami. Earn 6 figures in roughly 2 months. Stay sharp during the WNBA offseason. On paper, it made sense. Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart, 2 of the most recognizable names in women's basketball, helped found the league. Their involvement brought credibility, star power, and media attention.
Is partnering with the WNBA its best bet? Question mark. Quote, I don't want to speak too much of what's going on behind the scenes, but I've made it very clear we're open to the ecosystem. I'm sure you are. Unrivaled president Alex Bazell said Monday, on the day the league's open, quote, which way that looks like, for us, there's nothing that's on the table or off the table. Nothing that's off the table is the key takeaway there. Brazil has been open about Unrivaled's efforts to work with the WNBA from the onset. In September, he told Front Office Sports that Unrivaled went to the WNBA early and was open to a former formal partnership, the WNBA declined.
But a major issue surfaced almost immediately. Players want to play 5-on-5 basketball, not 3-on-3, not a hybrid version, the real game. And the biggest star in women's basketball made that position clear without ever mentioning Unrivaled by name. Caitlin Clark, the player who single-handedly pushed WNBA ratings to historic highs in 2024, chose not to participate. She didn't quietly pass either. It became widely known that her style of play doesn't translate to 3-on-3 basketball. When your entire business model depends on star-driven viewership and the biggest star in the sport won't participate, that's not a branding issue. It's not a scheduling issue. It's a structural flaw at the core of the product.
Be honest. It's because of Project B, which is going to have this league in a damn bind. I mean, real fast. Quote, what you look at right now is there's a collaboration that's going on in NBA Europe. That was not a formal partnership before. As long as you can look at that space in an innovative lens, anything is doable, anything is possible. He's literally bringing up other examples of collaboration. By this time next year, Project B, the new traveling 5-on-5 league, plans to be up and running with a number of former and current Unrivaled players committed to play in the inaugural season, including Alyssa Thomas and Jewel Lloyd. Beyond that immediate threat, there's a longer-term one if the WNBA pursues exclusivity as a result of increased pay. Quote, they don't believe that.
And the situation deteriorates further. Caitlin Clark wasn't the only major name to say no. Aja Wilson, the two-time MVP and the face of the Las Vegas Aces, isn't playing in Unrivaled. Angel Reese also passed, despite her rivalry with Clark generating enormous engagement all season. Sabrina Ionescu, one of the most marketable players in the WNBA, isn't there either, nor is Alyssa Wilson. Unrivaled launched its second season without 5 of the most recognizable faces in women's basketball. Consider what that means for a league that reportedly brought in $27 million in revenue during its first season. That number sounds strong until you remember the league's $340 million valuation. That math only works if explosive growth is coming. But how do you project explosive growth when your biggest stars are opting out for something else that hasn't even arrived yet? No one even knows exactly when it's coming.
When that's coming. It's probably not coming in this CBA. But it does look like it's coming. That may be true, but there's a belief within WNBA circles that the league is still at least one collective bargaining agreement away from being able to offer salaries that warrant exclusivity. But for sustained success, Unrivaled needs to consider an increasingly crowded women's basketball ecosystem. Now, it goes on to talk about the great, and I do mean the GOAT, David Stern, coming out and talking about why the WNBA was created. It was created as a league opposite to the NBA, purposely, so people would have basketball to watch when the NBA wasn't playing. It goes on to talk about the fact that the Unrivaled's got all this new money. Well, it's just investment money. All right, Series B investment, valuing the league at $340 million. Following the inaugural season when the league banked more than $27 million in revenue, the league is trying to grow that number, selling more tickets in a small arena, increasing the capacity.
And this leads directly to the real threat forcing Unrivaled's leadership to look toward the WNBA for help. Project B, a new 5-on-5 traveling league set to debut around this time next year. Even more alarming, Project B has already secured commitments from players currently competing in Unrivaled, including Alyssa Thomas and Jewel Lloyd. These aren't fringe players. These are stars actively playing Unrivaled's second season while publicly committing to a future rival league. That's not competition. That's an exodus unfolding in plain sight. When your own players are pledging loyalty to a league that doesn't yet exist, you're not fighting for market share. You're fighting to stay alive. And Project B offers what Unrivaled does not. 5-on-5 basketball, full court. The version of the game players actually want to play, not a modified format built to fit smaller venues and compressed schedules.
And there were, even in this little arena, there were empty seats. Very visible on the television screen. This league is in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Breanna Stewart, co-founder, when talking about Project B, honestly, I don't know. Talking about, are they considered a competitor? Project B has a lot that's still in the works until they're on the ground running. No, that's no shade to them or anything. It's just different. We're playing 3-on-3 in one city. It's 5-on-5 all over the place. Yeah, but when you listen...
Now let's focus on Alex Bazel's exact words, because phrasing matters. Speaking to Front Office Sports, he said he didn't want to reveal too much about internal discussions, but emphasized that the league is open to the broader ecosystem. He added that nothing is on or off the table. Nothing is off the table. That isn't how leaders talk when negotiating from strength. That's the language of a company in distress, searching for any option that might keep it afloat. Bazel went even further, referencing NBA Europe as an example of collaboration that began without formal partnerships. In other words, he's openly pointing to survival strategies used by other leagues as potential blueprints. Here's where it becomes especially interesting from a business standpoint. Early in its development, Unrivaled approached the WNBA seeking a partnership. The WNBA declined. They had no incentive to support a 3-on-3 league that would compete for player time and energy during the offseason. That was a rational decision. Why help build a competing product? But circumstances have shifted. The WNBA is now negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement, and there's growing discussion around exclusivity clauses that would prevent players from participating in other leagues during the offseason. Those clauses do not exist in the current CBA. According to sources close to the league, the WNBA is still at least one agreement away from being able to pay salaries high enough to justify exclusivity, but that future is approaching. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe.